Captain's log. Stardate 24 away. We have encountered the impossible. Not a vessel, not a phenomenon. A man, and he is alone in the void, breathing. The USS Enterprise D cut through the black like a needle threading silk, its warped nacelles humming with controlled fusion. On the bridge, Captain Jean-Luc Picard sat in his command chair, fingers steepled, watching the view screen with the calm of a man who had seen gods and found them wanting. Beside him, Commander William Riker leaned forward, eyes narrowed. Captain, Lieutenant Commander Data reported from Ops, his golden eyes reflecting the console's glow. Long-range sensors have detected an anomaly at coordinates 227 Mark 5. It is biological. Biological. Picard's voice carried the weight of 1,000 first contacts. Elaborate, Mr. Data. The object measures approximately 1.9 meters in height, humanoid in configuration. It is traveling at warp 3.7 without any visible propulsion system. Internal temperature, 37 degrees Celsius. Respiratory function, active. Cardiovascular activity, present. Captain. Data paused, an almost human hesitation. It is a living being, in open space, unprotected. The bridge fell silent. Riker stood. That's impossible. Apparently not, number one. Picard rose, tugging his uniform jacket straight. Red alert. Raise shields. Helm, reduce speed to impulse. Tactical, full scans. I want to know what we're dealing with before we make contact. Lieutenant Worf's deep voice rumbled from tactical. Captain, the entity is changing course. It is heading toward us. On the view screen, the magnification increased, and there he was. A man, floating in the absolute zero of space, cape billowing in non-existent wind, chest rising and falling as if he stood on Earth. His suit was blue and red, a stylized S emblazoned across his chest. His eyes, closed at first, opened, and they glowed, not with malice, not with heat, with something else. Awareness. Hail him, Picard ordered. Ensign Ramirez at Communications shook her head. No response, sir. He's not using subspace frequencies. No universal translator lock. He's just looking at us. Counselor Deanna Troy stood from her seat, her empathic senses flaring. Captain, I sense confusion, immense power, but also loss. He doesn't know where he is. Can you establish telepathic contact? I can try, she gasped, stumbling. Riker caught her. No, his mind is... It's like standing in front of a star. Too bright, too vast. The man outside tilted his head. Then he moved, not walked, not flew. Moved. In less than a heartbeat, he crossed the distance between the Enterprise and his position, 200,000 kilometers, and stopped 10 meters from the view screen. The hull groaned. Inertial dampeners screamed. Red lights flashed as proximity alarms blared. Shields holding, Worf reported, but his voice carried an edge. Barely. The man outside raised a hand. Not in threat, in greeting. Picard stepped forward. Open a channel, all frequencies, visual and audio. The view screen shifted to split screen. On one side, the Enterprise bridge. On the other, the man in the cape. His face was kind. Strong jawline, dark hair swept back, eyes impossibly blue. He looked human, but he wasn't. This is Captain Jean-Luc Picard of the United Federation of Planets Starship Enterprise. We mean you no harm. Can you understand me? The man's brow furrowed. He spoke. His lips moved. No sound. He's speaking, Data observed. But we are in vacuum. His voice cannot propagate without... The man's eyes narrowed. Then he placed a hand on the Enterprise's hull. The ship shuddered. Every console sparked. The lights flickered. And then, impossible, maddening, beautiful, His voice came through the ship's comm system, not broadcast, not transmitted. Vibrated through the hull itself. "Where am I?" His voice was deep, steady, but underneath it, Picard heard something that made his chest tighten. "Fair. You are in Federation space," Picard said slowly, clearly. "Sector 221G. You are safe. We are explorers, diplomats. We can help you. But first, how are you alive out there?" The man looked down at himself, at the cape that shouldn't move, at the chest that shouldn't rise. "I don't know. I was fighting someone, something. There was a light. And then, nothing. Just stars. For so long, just stars." Troy's eyes widened. "Captain, he's not lying. He's genuinely lost." "Mr. Data, can our sensors determine his physiology?" "Attempting full bioscan now." Data's fingers flew over his console, then stopped. "Captain, this is unprecedented. His cellular structure is absorbing solar radiation at a rate of 10.27 watts per second. His body is converting starlight into energy with 100% efficiency. His muscle density is..." Data looked up. "Incalculable. His bones are denser than neutronium, and his neural activity suggests cognitive processing speeds faster than our ship's computer." Riker's jaw clenched. "Are you saying he's invulnerable?" "I'm saying," Data replied carefully, "that based on our scans, there is no known force in this sector that could harm him." The man outside, Superman, though they didn't know that name yet, pressed his palm harder against the hole. The metal bent inward, not crushed, just reshaped, like clay. "I'm sorry," he said. "I don't know my own strength here. Everything feels different, lighter. I can hear your heartbeats, all of them. I can see through your ship. I can hear your thoughts if I focus." He pulled his hand away, and the hull snapped back into place, perfectly repaired. "I don't want to hurt anyone. I just want to go home." Picard's mind raced. Telepathy without training. Molecular manipulation. Strength beyond comprehension, and most terrifying of all, kindness. Because if this being turned hostile, nothing in the Federation could stop him. "We will help you," Picard said. And he meant it. "But we must do this carefully. Will you come aboard? We have environmental suits, a medical bay, and I don't need a suit." Superman smiled, sad, gentle. "But thank you, I'll come in." "Transporter room, lock onto our guest and..." "Captain," the transporter chief's voice crackled through. "I can't get a lock. His molecular structure it's rejecting the confinement beam." Superman looked directly at Picard through the view screen. "Which way is your door?" Picard pointed. "Docking Bay 2, Deck 12, but you'll need to..." Superman was already gone. 3 seconds later, alarms blared on Deck 12. Worf's console lit up. "Captain, hull breach on Deck 12, Docking Bay 2, he tore through the outer door." "Seal it, emergency..." "He already did," Worf said, disbelief coloring his tone. He bent the metal back into place. "The seal it's airtight, better than before." Picard and Riker exchanged a glance. Then Picard tapped his comm badge. "Security team to Docking Bay 2, non-lethal protocols. Mr. Worf, you're with me." As they entered the turbo lift, Riker muttered, "Jean-Luc, if he wanted to kill us, we'd already be dead." "I know," Picard replied. "That's what worries me." When they arrived at the docking bay, the security team stood frozen, phasers lowered, because in the center of the room, sitting cross-legged on the deck, was the man in the cape. His eyes were red, glowing faintly, and he was staring at his hands. "I didn't mean to scare anyone," he said without looking up. I can hear everything, every conversation on this ship, every engine, every star within 100 light years. I don't know how to turn it off. Picard approached slowly. What is your name? The man looked up, and for the first time, Picard saw the weight he carried. Kal-El, but where I'm from, they called me Superman. Superman, Picard repeated. I am Captain Picard. Welcome aboard the Enterprise, and I promise you, we will find a way to get you home. Superman nodded, but deep in his eyes, Picard saw the truth. He didn't believe him, and neither did Picard. Because beings like this didn't just appear, and if he was here by accident, what else had followed him through? If you crave crossovers where gods meet reason, where power is tested not by fists, but by ethics, where Star Trek's philosophy collides with DC's mythology, hit subscribe, drop your dream matchup in the comments, and prepare for a journey where the greatest threat isn't malice, but good intentions unchecked. The conference room of the USS Enterprise felt smaller than usual. Captain Picard sat at the head of the table, fingers interlaced, watching the man called Superman through the viewport. Outside, suspended in the tractor beam's gentle grip, though everyone knew it was courtesy, not containment, Kal-El floated in space, eyes closed, face tilted toward the nearest star. He's been out there for 2 hours, Riker said, arms crossed, just absorbing sunlight. Feeding, Data corrected. His cellular structure requires solar radiation. Without it, I theorize his abilities would diminish. However, given the intensity of his absorption rate, he could likely function at peak capacity for decades without recharge. Worf's hand rested on the phaser at his hip. Captain, I must recommend extreme caution. We have no defense against him. Our shields cannot hold if he decides to attack. Our weapons would be ineffective. He is a strategic nightmare. He's also alone and afraid, Counselor Troy interjected. I've never felt such isolation from anyone. He's lost everything, his world, his people, his purpose. Right now, he's clinging to control because he knows what he could do if he loses it. Picard nodded slowly. Then we proceed with empathy, but not naivety. Mr. Data, have you made progress analyzing his point of origin? Negative, Captain. His molecular structure contains elements that do not exist in our periodic table. His DNA has a triple helix configuration never before observed, and the energy signature emanating from his cells suggests exposure to a red sun for most of his developmental years, followed by a yellow sun, similar to Sol, which triggered his current abilities. A refugee, Picard murmured. Transformed by circumstance? Or a weapon, Worf countered. Sent here deliberately. Before Picard could respond, the ship lurched violently. Sparks erupted from consoles. The lights dimmed, then surged too bright. Red alert klaxons wailed. Report! Picard barked, gripping the table. The voice of Lieutenant Daniels from the bridge crackled through the comm. Captain, we have a massive power drain. All systems fluctuating. Source is external. It's him. Through the viewport, Superman's eyes snapped open, glowing brilliant red. His body spasmed. He clutched his head, mouth open in a silent scream. He's losing control, Troy gasped. His emotions, they're overloading. Too much sensory input. He can hear everything. Every planet, every star, every ship within light years. It's tearing him apart. Picard moved to the viewport, pressing his hand against it. Open a channel, all frequencies, audio and visual. Superman's head turned toward the ship. His eyes blazed like supernovae. Kal-El! Picard's voice was steady, firm. Listen to my voice. Focus on it. Only my voice. Block out everything else. You're in control. You have always been in control. Superman's breathing was ragged, visible even in vacuum. His heat vision flared, twin beams lancing out into space, vaporizing an asteroid 3 kilometers away in an instant. The Enterprise shook again. Coolant systems failed. The warp core temperature spiked. "Captain, if he fires that at us," Riker began. "He won't." Picard kept his eyes locked on Superman. "Kal-El, I know you can hear me. You are not a threat. You're not a monster. You are a man far from home, and we will help you. But first, you must breathe. In, out. Find your center." For a long moment, nothing changed. The heat vision intensified. The ship's hull began to glow where the ambient energy washed over it. Then, slowly, the red glow faded from Superman's eyes. His body relaxed. The power drain ceased. He looked at Picard through the viewport, mouthed 2 words. "I'm sorry." Then he turned and flew away. Not at warp speed, not in rage, just away, into the black. "Pursuit course?" the helmsman asked. "Negative." Picard straightened. "Give him space. Mr. Data, track his trajectory but do not follow. He needs time." "Captain," Worf said, voice low, "what if he doesn't come back?" "Then we've failed him," Picard replied. "But I don't believe we have." 6 hours later, Picard stood alone in his ready room, staring at the stars through his window. The door chime sounded. "Come." The door opened. Superman stood in the doorway, cape draped over his shoulders, eyes downcast. He looked smaller, more human. "Permission to enter?" His voice was quiet. "Granted." Picard gestured to the chair across from his desk. "Please, sit." Superman hesitated, then sat carefully, as if afraid the chair might shatter. It didn't. "I almost killed everyone on your ship," he said. "But you didn't." "I could have." "Yes." Picard poured 2 glasses of saurian brandy. Offered one. Superman took it, sniffed it, took a cautious sip. "You could have destroyed this vessel and everyone aboard in seconds, but you chose not to. That choice defines you more than your power ever could." Superman stared into his glass. "Where I come from, I had rules, boundaries, people who kept me grounded. Here, I can hear dying stars. I can see through planets. I can move faster than your ship, and I have no idea how to turn it off." He looked up. "How do you live with gods, Captain?" "We don't," Picard said simply. "The Federation was built on the principle that all sentient beings are equal. We have encountered species with immense power. The Q, the Organians, the Dauds. Each time we've had to reconcile our philosophy with the reality that some beings are simply beyond us. And how did that work out? With difficulty, with fear, and occasionally with friendship." Picard leaned forward. "But here is what I know. Power without accountability is tyranny, and you, Kal-El, are the first being I've met who seems to understand that." Superman's jaw tightened. "On my world, I had people I loved. A woman named Lois. Friends. A city that needed me. I wasn't a god there. I was just Clark, a farm boy who tried to do the right thing." His voice cracked. "I don't even know if they're alive, if my world still exists, or if I've been thrown so far across space and time that everything I knew is dust." Picard said nothing, because there was nothing to say. He had seen this grief before, in refugees, in survivors, in himself. "Help me find out," Superman said. "Help me get home. And if I can't," he set down the glass, Teach me how to live in this universe, because right now, all I am is a weapon looking for a war." Picard extended his hand. "Then let us ensure you become something more." Superman shook it. His grip was gentle, controlled, human. But as Picard felt the warmth of that hand, he couldn't shake one thought. What happens when even good men become gods? And more terrifying, who decides when gods have gone too far? The bridge was quiet when the sensors lit up. Data's fingers moved across his console with inhuman precision, his golden eyes narrowing fractionally. The closest thing to alarm he could express. "Captain, we are being hailed. Klingon vessel, Brel-class bird of prey, decloaking off our port bow." Picard stood, tugging his uniform. On screen. The view screen flickered. A Klingon commander filled the frame. Scarred face, graying hair braided with honor chains, eyes burning with the fire of a warrior who had seen 1,000 battles and hungered for 1,000 more. Behind him, his bridge crew snarled and postured. "I am Commander Korath of the House of Martok," the Klingon growled. "We have been tracking an anomaly through this sector. Our sensors detected an energy signature, unlike anything in Imperial records. You will surrender it to us immediately, or we will take it by force." Riker stepped forward. "Commander, we are on a diplomatic mission. We have no—" "Do not insult me with lies. Riker of the Enterprise." Korath slammed his fist on his armrest. "We know what you have aboard your ship. A being of impossible power, a warrior with no house, no honor, no master. Such a creature belongs in the hands of those who understand strength." His teeth bared in a savage grin. "The Empire will give him purpose, glory, a place in Stovo Corps if he dies well." Picard's voice remained calm, but his eyes were iron. "The individual you speak of is a guest of the Federation. He is under our protection. He will not be surrendered." "Then you choose war." The channel cut. Immediately, Worf's console screamed warnings. "Captain, they are charging weapons. Disruptors locked onto our position. Evasive maneuvers. Shields to maximum. Return fire. Phasers only. Disable their weapons systems." The Enterprise banked hard. Phaser arrays lanced out, striking the bird of prey's shields in bursts of orange light. The Klingon ship rolled, absorbing the hits, then fired back. Disruptor bolts hammered into the Enterprise's shields, each impact shaking the deck. "Shields holding at 87%, Worf reported. In the observation lounge adjacent to the bridge, Superman stood with his arms crossed, watching the battle through the viewport. His jaw was tight. His eyes tracked every movement, the Enterprise's evasive roll, the Klingon ship's aggressive pursuit, the phaser fire that splashed harmlessly against enemy shields. Counselor Troy entered quietly. "You want to help?" "I could end this in seconds," Superman said. "One punch, tear through their hull, crush their weapons. They'd never fire again." "But you won't." "Captain Picard asked me not to interfere. He said Starfleet handles its own conflicts, that using me as a weapon would make me exactly what that Klingon thinks I am." He turned to her, and she saw the frustration in his eyes. "But people could die because I'm following rules." "People die in war," Troy said gently. "But if you intervene every time, there's conflict. You become the arbiter of who lives and dies. You become judge, jury, and executioner. Is that who you want to be?" Superman looked back at the battle. The Enterprise shuddered again under disruptor fire. "No," he said quietly. "But watching them fight when I could stop it, that's its own kind of hell." On the bridge, Picard gripped his armrest. "Worf, target their engines. Prepare photon torpedoes." "Aye, Captain." Before Worf could fire, the Klingon ship broke off its attack vector. It circled wide, disruptors still glowing, but not firing. "They're hailing us again," Ramirez reported. "Open the channel." Korath's face reappeared, blood running from a cut above his eye. He was grinning. "Your shields are strong, Picard. Your crew fights well, but we are not here for you." He leaned forward. "We are here for him, the one who hides while warriors bleed. Tell me, Picard, what kind of coward possesses the power of gods but refuses to fight?" Picard's eyes narrowed. "You are attempting to provoke him." "I am giving him a choice," Korath roared. "Face me in honorable combat, or prove yourself unworthy of the power you wield. One warrior to another. No ships, no tricks, just strength against strength. If he defeats me, we leave. If I defeat him..." Korath's grin widened. "Then the Empire claims his corpse, and we learn what makes a god bleed." Riker stepped closer to Picard. "It's a trap. They want to study him, or worse, weaponize him." "I know." Picard tapped his comm badge. "Picard to Superman." In the observation lounge, Superman straightened. "I'm here, Captain." "You heard the challenge." "Yes." "You are under no obligation to accept. This is not your fight." There was a long pause. Then Superman's voice came back, steady and resolute. "Yes, it is. Because if I don't face him, he'll keep attacking, and your crew will die protecting someone who could have stopped it." Another pause. "Beam me outside." Picard closed his eyes briefly, then opened them. "Transporter room. Beam our guest into open space, 20 meters from the Klingon vessel." "Aye, sir." The transporter beam sparkled in the void. Superman materialized, cape snapping in solar wind, arms at his sides. He floated there, weightless, calm, staring at the bird of prey. Korath stood from his chair. "Bring me my bat'leth, and prepare the airlock." His crew stared. "Commander, you cannot." "I can, and I will." Korath's eyes gleamed with the fervor of a true believer. "Today, I fight a god, and if I die with honor." Minutes later, the Klingon airlock opened. Korath emerged in his environmental suit, bulky, reinforced, built for zero-G combat. In his hands, a bat'leth gleamed, edges monomolecular, sharp enough to cut through duranium. Superman floated forward, stopping 10 meters away. His voice carried through the comm channel both ships monitored. "I don't want to fight you. Then you will die without honor." Korath raised the bat'leth. "Kapla." He activated. His suit's thrusters and launched forward, blades swinging in a brutal arc aimed at Superman's neck. Superman didn't move. The bat'leth struck his throat and shattered. The monomolecular edge, honed to perfection, designed to slice through starship hulls, disintegrated against Superman's skin like glass against diamond. Fragments spun away into space, glittering in starlight. Korath stared at the broken hilt in his hands, then at Superman. Then he laughed, a deep, booming sound filled with disbelief and savage joy. "Incredible! You truly are invincible." "I didn't want this," Superman said, "but you need to understand, I'm not your enemy, and I'm not your weapon." Korath drew a disruptor pistol from his belt and fired point-blank into Superman's chest. The energy bolt struck. Red light washed over Superman's suit. He didn't blink. Korath fired again, and again, and again. Each shot at maximum power, each one hitting dead center. Superman reached out and gently took the pistol from Korath's hand. He crushed it into a ball of twisted metal, then let it drift away. "Are we done?" Superman asked. Korath stared at him. Then, slowly, he removed his helmet. In open space, without protection, gasping in vacuum, his eyes bulged, his face turned purple. Superman's eyes widened. "What are you?" He lunged forward, grabbed Korath, and flew him back to the Klingon airlock in less than a second. He shoved him inside and slammed the door shut. Through the viewport, he watched as atmosphere flooded back, as Korath collapsed, coughing, laughing, bleeding from his eyes and nose. The Klingon looked up at Superman through the glass, pressed his fist to his chest in salute, then spoke, and Superman's super hearing caught every word. "Today, I witnessed a god show mercy. The Empire must know. They must all know." Korath's ship cloaked and vanished. Superman floated there alone, staring at the stars, wondering if he'd just prevented a war or started one. On the Enterprise bridge, Picard let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. "Mr. Data, track that ship. Relay its trajectory to Starfleet Command." "Aye, Captain." Riker looked at Picard. "Jean-Luc, the Klingons will talk. Every Empire within sensor range will hear about this within days." "I know." Picard's voice was grim. "And they will all want what Korath wanted. To test him, to use him, to own him." Worf's voice was quiet but certain. "Then we must prepare for war, because gods do not go unnoticed, and power like his." He looked at the view screen where Superman floated, alone and glowing. "It will draw every predator in the galaxy." Picard nodded slowly. "Transporter room. Bring him home." Admiral Alina Nechayev's face filled the view screen, her expression carved from granite. Behind her, the seal of Starfleet Command glowed with sterile authority. Picard stood alone in his ready room, hands clasped behind his back, spine straight as a phaser beam. "Captain Picard, your report has caused considerable alarm within Starfleet Command," Nechayev said, her voice clipped and precise. "A being with near-omnipotent power, invulnerable to our weapons, capable of faster-than-light travel without a vessel, and possessing sensory abilities that render our entire security infrastructure obsolete. Do you understand the implications?" "I understand them perfectly, Admiral. Which is why I've kept him aboard the Enterprise, where we can monitor him and establish trust." "Trust?" Nechayev's laugh was bitter. "Captain, we have protocols for first contact with dangerous species. We have contingencies for hostile encounters. We even have procedures for Q-level entities. But this Superman of yours represents something we've never faced before, unlimited power combined with unpredictability. With respect, Admiral, he has shown nothing but restraint. When provoked by the Klingons, he could have destroyed their entire ship. Instead, he saved Commander Korath's life, which only makes him more dangerous." Nechayev leaned forward. "A being who believes himself a hero is far more likely to interfere in affairs that don't concern him. The Prime Directive exists for a reason, Captain. What happens when Superman decides a pre-warp civilization needs saving? What happens when he disagrees with Federation policy and simply acts?" Picard's jaw tightened. "He has given me his word that he will respect our protocols while we search for a way to return him home. The word of an alien whose true motives we cannot verify." Nechayev's eyes hardened. "I've consulted with Starfleet intelligence, the Federation Council, and several xenopsychology experts. The consensus is clear. Superman represents an existential threat to the balance of power in this quadrant. The Klingons already know about him. The Romulans will learn within days, and when they do, every major power will want either to control him or eliminate him. Eliminate. Picard's voice dropped to a dangerous register. Admiral, you're speaking of murdering a refugee. I'm speaking of protecting billions of lives. Nechaev's tone brooked no argument. Captain, you will continue to monitor the subject, but you are hereby ordered to gather complete intelligence on his capabilities, his physiology, and any potential weaknesses. Furthermore, you are to prevent him from interfering in any Federation matters, internal or external. Is that understood? Admiral, if we treat him as a threat, that will be all, Captain. The screen went dark. Picard stood in the silence, staring at his reflection in the blank monitor. Then he tapped his comm badge. Picard to Riker, assemble the senior staff in the, conference room. Immediately. 10 minutes later, they gathered around the table. Picard briefed them on Starfleet's orders, watching their faces shift from concern to outrage. They want us to spy on him, Troy said, disbelief coloring her voice, after we promised to help him. They want contingencies, Picard corrected, and I cannot say their concerns are unfounded. We have seen what Superman can do. Imagine if his intentions were hostile. Imagine if he were a conqueror rather than a lost traveler. He is not a conqueror, Troy insisted. I felt his mind. His grief is real. His desire to return home is genuine. I believe you, Picard said. But Starfleet Command answers to a federation of over 150 member worlds. Each of those worlds is now aware that a being exists who could sterilize their planet in minutes. Fear is a rational response. Worf spoke, voice rumbling. The Klingon High Council has issued a declaration. Superman is to be considered a priority target for study. If he enters Klingon space, he will be engaged with maximum force. Maximum force won't stop him, Riker muttered. No, Data interjected, but it may reveal exploitable weaknesses. Commander Korath's report detailed Superman's reaction to violence. He is reluctant to harm others, even in self-defense. This is a tactical vulnerability. An enemy willing to sacrifice forces could use this reluctance against him. Dr. Crusher, who had been silent until now, leaned forward. I've been analyzing the bioscan data we collected. His cellular structure is remarkable. Each cell functions as a solar battery, storing energy with perfect efficiency. But there's something else. His physiology is designed for a specific type of star. Our sun is close but not identical. Over time, prolonged exposure to different stellar radiation could have unpredictable effects. Could it weaken him? Picard asked. Possibly. Or it could strengthen him, or alter him in ways we can't predict. Jean-Luc, he's not just alien. He's operating on principles of physics we don't fully understand. The door chimed. Everyone turned. Come, Picard said. The door slid open. Superman stood in the doorway, still in his suit, cape draped over his shoulders. His eyes moved across each face, reading micro-expressions, hearing heartbeats, seeing the tension in their muscles. You're talking about me, he said quietly. No one spoke. I can hear you, through the walls, through the deck plating, through the entire ship. He stepped inside and the door closed behind him. I know Starfleet considers me a threat. I know the Klingons want to weaponize me. I know the Romulans are probably planning the same thing." He looked directly at Picard. "And I know you've been ordered to find a way to stop me if I become a problem." Picard met his gaze without flinching. "Yes." "Good." Superman pulled out a chair and sat. "Because you should have a plan. If I lose control, if I'm compromised, if something happens that turns me into what everyone fears I could be, you need a way to stop me." Riker frowned. "You want us to develop a weapon against you?" "I want you to be prepared. Where I come from, we had contingencies. People I trusted to stop me if I ever crossed the line. Here, I don't have that. So I'm asking you, be my failsafe." Troy studied him with her empath's insight. "You're afraid of yourself." "Every day." Superman's voice was raw. "Do you know what it's like to hear every scream on a planet? To see through walls and know when people are lying, when they're afraid, when they're dying? I could rule this entire quadrant. I could reshape worlds, and part of me, the part that's tired, that's angry, that's lost, whispers that maybe I should." He looked down at his hands. "So yes, I'm afraid, and I need people around me who aren't." Picard leaned forward, fingers steepled. "Then we have an accord. We will help you find your way home. We will treat you as an ally, not a prisoner. But in return, you will submit to study. Voluntary, transparent, and with your full cooperation. You will respect our prime directive and our chain of command. And if circumstances require it, you'll do what needs to be done," Superman finished. "I understand." Worf's eyes narrowed. "And if we cannot find a way to stop you?" Superman smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Then you'd better hope I'm as good a man as I'm trying to be." The conference room fell silent. Outside the viewport, a distant star flared, and Superman's eyes tracked it automatically, absorbing data light years away. Picard stood, extending his hand once more. "Then let us hope it never comes to that." Superman shook it, but as the meeting adjourned and the crew filed out, Picard caught Riker's arm. "Number 1, contact Section 31, discreetly. Tell them we may need unconventional solutions." Riker's face darkened. "Jean-Luc, they'll use him, or try to eliminate him." "I know, but if Superman is right, if he truly could become what we fear, then we need every option available." Picard's voice was heavy with the weight of command. "Even the ones that damn us." Riker nodded slowly and left. Alone in the conference room, Picard stared out at the stars and wondered which frightened him more. The possibility that Superman would become a tyrant, or the certainty that stopping him would require becoming monsters themselves. The distress call came at 0400 hours. Lieutenant Ramirez's voice crackled through the ship's comm system, urgent and sharp. "Captain Picard to the bridge, priority 1 emergency." Picard arrived within 90 seconds, uniform hastily fastened, Riker at his heels. The bridge crew worked their stations with controlled intensity, faces pale in the red alert lighting. "Report," Picard commanded. Data's fingers flew across his console. "Captain, we have received an automated distress beacon from the Federation colony on Theta Cygni 7. Population 47,000. The colony's star has entered an unexpected supernova state. The system will be destroyed in approximately 11 minutes. 11 minutes? Riker's voice was tight. How is that possible? Stars don't just go supernova without warning. Unknown, Commander. However, the readings are definitive. The star's core has collapsed. The shock wave is already expanding. At current velocity, it will reach the colony in... Data paused. 10 minutes, 40 seconds. Picard's mind raced through options, discarding each one instantly. Maximum warp to Theta Cygni 7. Prepare for emergency evacuation. Captain, Worf said grimly, at maximum warp, we will arrive in 17 minutes. 6 minutes too late. The bridge fell silent. 47,000 lives. Men, women, children, families eating breakfast, scientists conducting research, teachers preparing lessons, all about to be vaporized by stellar fire. There must be something, Picard began. There is. Superman's voice came from behind them. He stood in the turbo-lift entrance, already moving toward the view screen. Where's the colony? Data transferred the coordinates to the main display. A three-dimensional star chart appeared, showing the Enterprise's position, the doomed star, and the tiny blue dot representing Theta Cygni 7. Superman's eyes narrowed, calculating distances with superhuman precision. 42 light years. I can make it. In 11 minutes, Crusher had arrived on the bridge, medical tricorder in hand. That's impossible, even for you. I've never tried to fly that fast, Superman admitted, but I've never had a reason to before. He looked at Picard. I need you to trust me. What are you proposing? I'll fly to the star, absorb as much of the supernova energy as I can, buy time for evacuation, yours or anyone else who can help. Riker stepped forward. You want to fly into a supernova? That stellar material at millions of degrees. Radiation that would kill me? No. Superman's voice was certain. I'm solar-powered, Commander. That star is the biggest battery in this sector. But I need to leave now. Picard studied him for 3 seconds that felt like hours. 47,000 lives against one. The needs of the many, but was he sending Superman to his death? Or was he finally seeing what this being truly was? Not a weapon, not a threat, but a hero. Go, Picard said. Superman nodded once, then turned to Data. Send me the exact coordinates. I'll need to navigate through subspace to get there in time. Transmitting now. Superman, the colony's exact position is... I can hear them. Superman interrupted, his eyes distant. 47,312 heartbeats. I can hear every single one. His jaw set. I won't let them stop. He walked to the airlock. Riker followed. If you survive this, you'll have proven yourself to the entire Federation. Superman paused at the door. I'm not doing it for proof, Commander. I'm doing it because it's right. He smiled, that sad, gentle smile. It's what we do where I come from. The airlock cycled. Superman stepped into space and flew. On the bridge, Data's sensors tracked him. He is accelerating. Warp 1, Warp 3, Warp 7. Captain, he is exceeding Warp 9. That's faster than the Enterprise at full power, Crusher whispered. Warp 9.7, Warp 9.9. Data's voice remained calm, but his eyes widened fractionally. Captain, his velocity is approaching the theoretical maximum. If he continues to accelerate, he will breach the Warp 10 threshold. Which is impossible, Riker said. Warp 10 is infinite velocity. You'd occupy every point in the universe simultaneously. Warp 9.99. He is slowing. Final velocity, 98% of Warp 10. Data looked up. He will arrive at Theta Cygni 7 in 7 minutes, 14 seconds. Picard gripped his armrest. Helm, lay in a pursuit course. Maximum warp. We may not arrive in time to evacuate, but we'll be there to recover survivors if... He stopped. When Superman succeeds. The Enterprise leapt to warp, stars streaking past. 7 minutes later, they dropped out of warp at the edge of the Theta Cini system. What they saw defied comprehension. The star was dying. Its outer layers had already begun to shed, brilliant curtains of plasma expanding outward at relativistic speeds. The shock wave was a wall of annihilation, a sphere of destruction racing toward the colony world at a significant fraction of light speed. And between the star and the planet, arms outstretched, cape streaming behind him in solar wind, floated Superman. His eyes blazed red, not with heat vision, but with absorbed radiation. His body glowed like a sun itself, every cell drinking at the stellar death, channeling it, containing it. Incredible, Data breathed. He is absorbing the supernova's energy output. Current absorption rate, 10 to the 32nd watts per second. His body is converting stellar radiation into, I cannot determine what. The energy simply vanishes into his cellular structure. The shock wave hit Superman. It should have vaporized him. Instead, he spread his arms wider, and the expanding shell of plasma and radiation curved around him, diverted by forces the Enterprise's sensors couldn't measure. He was a dam against stellar fury, a single point of impossible will holding back an ocean of fire. Troy gasped, clutching her head. I can feel him. His mind it's like standing in the heart of a star. So much pain, so much energy. He's burning, but he won't let go. Minutes passed. The shockwave continued to expand, but Superman held his position, absorbing, redirecting, bleeding off the supernova's power. The colony world behind him remained untouched, shielded by his body. Picard watched, transfixed. How long can he sustain this? Unknown, Captain. However, the supernova's primary energy release is beginning to diminish. If he can maintain his current position for another 4 minutes. Superman's body flared brighter. So bright, the view screen automatically dimmed to prevent retinal damage. His scream was silent in vacuum, but everyone on the bridge felt it. A howl of pure agony transmitted through subspace itself. The energy output is spiking, Data reported. He is no longer absorbing, he is redirecting the entire shockwave into subspace. The wall of fire around Superman twisted, bent, and then simply vanished, sucked into tears in space-time that opened and closed like mouths. He was creating subspace rifts with nothing but his body, dumping stellar death into another dimension. Then, silence. The shockwave was gone. The star's outer layers continued to expand, but slowly now, no longer a weapon of extinction, just the natural death of a sun. Superman floated motionless, still glowing, body rigid. Life signs? Picard demanded. Crusher checked her medical scanner. I'm reading him, but his physiology is so far beyond normal parameters. Jean-Luc, his body temperature is reading at 15,000 degrees Kelvin. He should be plasma. But he's not. Riker pointed at the view screen. He's moving. Superman turned slowly in space, facing the Enterprise. His eyes were still bright, but the glow was fading. He raised one hand in a weak salute. Then he collapsed, drifting unconscious in the void. Transporter room, emergency beam directly to sickbay, medical team standing by. Captain, his energy signature is interfering with the transporter lock. I cannot. Then I'll get him. Superman's eyes snapped open. He flew toward the Enterprise under his own power, slower now, struggling against exhaustion. He reached the hull, pressed his hand against it, and the metal warmed under his touch. Docking Bay 3, he transmitted through the hull itself, voice barely a whisper. Please. They brought him in. He collapsed on the deck, cape scorched and tattered, suit blackened in places. But he was smiling. "How many?" he asked as Picard knelt beside him. "How many what?" "Heartbeats on the colony. How many did I save?" Data's voice came through the comm. "All of them, Superman. 47,312. You saved them all." Superman closed his eyes. "Good. That's good." Then he passed out, body still radiating heat, still glowing faintly with the light of a dead star. Dr. Crusher ran her tricorder over. Him. He's in some kind of regenerative stasis. His cells are processing the absorbed energy, converting it to, I don't even know. Jean-Luc, what we just witnessed, was the most extraordinary act of heroism I've ever seen. Picard finished quietly. On the bridge, Worf stood at attention, fist over his heart in Klingon salute. Troi wiped tears from her eyes. Riker simply stared at the view screen where the colony world continued to orbit, blissfully unaware how close they'd come to oblivion. And 42 light-years away, in the shadows between stars, a Romulan warbird decloaked long enough to transmit a single encrypted message to the Tal Shiar. Target confirmed. Power level exceeds all projections. Recommend immediate acquisition. By any means necessary. Superman woke in sickbay 3 hours later. The biobed beneath him slightly warped from residual heat. Dr. Crusher stood over him, tricorder humming, her expression caught between fascination and concern. "How do you feel?" she asked. He sat up slowly, testing his body. The scorched parts of his suit had already regenerated somehow, the fabric knitting itself back together. "Tired, but better than I should." He looked at his hands. They still glowed faintly. "I absorbed enough energy to power your ship for a century. My cells are still processing it. You nearly killed yourself saving those people. Nearly doesn't count." He swung his legs off the biobed. "Where's Captain Picard?" "Bridge. And Superman." Crusher put a hand on his arm. He could have shrugged it off effortlessly, but he didn't. "What you did today was remarkable. But it was also reckless. You had no idea if you could survive that supernova. I knew I had to try. That's not the same as knowing you'd succeed." Superman met her eyes. "Doctor, where I come from, I once held a black hole closed with my bare hands to save my city. I've flown through the core of a red sun. I've caught nuclear warheads mid-flight and thrown them into space." His voice softened. "I didn't know if I'd survive those either. But when people need help, you don't calculate odds. You just act." Crusher studied him for a long moment, then nodded. "The captain wants to see you. And Superman, thank you. My cousin lives on Theta Cygni 7. She has 2 children." He smiled. Then it was worth it. Minutes later, Superman entered the bridge. The crew turned to look at him, and for the first time since he'd arrived, there was something new in their eyes. Not fear, not suspicion. Respect. Picard stood. "Superman, I'm glad you've recovered. Your actions today have—" "Captain, incoming transmission," Ramirez interrupted. "It's from the Romulan Star Empire. They're requesting direct communication with Superman specifically." The bridge tensed. Worf's hand moved to his phaser. Riker stepped closer to Picard. "Romulans don't request anything without ulterior motive," Worf growled. Superman frowned. "I've heard that name. Romulan. You mentioned them before. They're not friendly?" "They are cunning, deceptive, and ruthless," Picard said carefully. "They share a common ancestry with Vulcans, but rejected logic in favor of passion and conquest. They are among our most dangerous adversaries. He looked at Superman. Whatever they want, I strongly advise caution. Put them on screen, Superman said. Picard nodded to Ramirez. The view screen flickered. A Romulan woman appeared, her angular features sharp as cut glass, dark hair pulled back severely, eyes calculating and cold. Behind her, the dim green lighting of a warbird bridge cast everything in sickly shadows. "I am Commander Liviana of the Romulan Imperial Fleet," she said, her voice smooth as poisoned honey. "I address the one called Superman." Superman stepped forward. "I'm listening. Your actions at Theta Cygni have not gone unnoticed. The Tal Shiar has been monitoring Federation communications. We know what you are, a being of immense power, displaced from your reality, seeking a way home." She smiled, and it was the smile of a predator. "The Romulan Star Empire can help you." "Help me?" Superman's eyes narrowed. "We possess technology the Federation does not. Temporal sensors, dimensional analysis equipment, quantum fold theory applications. Our scientists have been studying the nature of reality itself for decades." Liviana leaned forward. "Give us 3 days to study your unique energy signature, and we will find the breach through which you entered our universe. We will send you home." Picard stepped beside Superman. "Commander Liviana, this is Captain Picard. Superman is under Federation protection. Any cooperation between..." "I was not addressing you, Picard." Liviana's eyes never left Superman. "I'm offering him something the Federation cannot. Hope. A way back to his world, to the people he loves. All we ask is a small amount of his time." Superman was silent, his jaw working. Picard could see the war behind his eyes, the desperate desire to return home versus the certain knowledge that this was a trap. "What's the catch?" Superman asked. "No catch. Simply cooperation. You submit to non-invasive scans. You answer questions about your capabilities. You allow our scientists to study the dimensional energies you absorbed when you crossed between realities." Liviana's smile widened. "Unlike the Federation, we do not fear knowledge. We embrace it." "She's lying," Troy said from her station. "I can feel it. Deception and hunger." Liviana's eyes flicked to Troy with contempt. "Betazoid empaths are unreliable when dealing with Romulans. We have trained ourselves to project false emotions. You feel what I want you to feel." Superman crossed his arms. "If you can really send me home, why do you need to study me? Why not just do it?" "Because we need to calibrate our equipment to your specific energy signature. Every reality has its own quantum frequency. Without precise measurements, we risk sending you somewhere worse than here, or destroying you in the attempt." Liviana's expression softened, almost convincingly sincere. "I know what it is to be far from home. I spent 3 years on a deep space mission away from my family. It nearly broke me, and that was only 3 years. You have lost everything. Let us help you reclaim it." Picard touched Superman's arm. "May I have a word?" "Privately." They moved to the ready room. The door closed behind them. "It's a trap," Picard said without preamble. "They want to study you, weaponize your abilities, or both. The Romulans have no interest in sending you home. They want to dissect what makes you powerful and replicate it." "I know," Superman said quietly. "But what if she's telling the truth? What if they really can find a way back? At what cost? Your freedom, your life. Superman, the moment you board that warbird, you are in their power. And if they have developed some weapon we don't know about, Some technology that can contain you. Then I'm trapped. I know. Superman looked out the viewport at the stars. But Captain, every day I'm here, I'm getting stronger. Your yellow sun is slightly different from mine, and it's charging me in ways I don't fully understand. What if I stay here too long and lose my connection to my reality entirely? What if the window to return home closes? We will find another way. The Federation has already admitted you don't have the technology to send me back. You've been honest about that from the beginning. Superman turned to face him. I'm not saying I trust the Romulans, but I'm running out of options. Picard was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "If you go to them, I cannot protect you." "I don't need protection. I need answers." Superman's expression hardened with resolve. "I'll meet with them, but on neutral ground and with Federation observers present." They returned to the bridge. Superman addressed the view screen. "Commander Liviana, I'll consider your offer, but not on your ship, not in your territory. We meet at a neutral location with Starfleet personnel present, or we don't meet at all." Liviana's eyes glittered. "Acceptable. There is an abandoned Federation science station in the neutral zone. Outpost Epsilon 17. We will meet you there in 12 hours. Come alone, Superman, or do not come at all." The transmission ended. Worf spoke immediately. "Captain, this is obviously a trap. We should refuse." "We will not refuse," Picard said. "But we will be prepared. Mr. Worf, scan that outpost. I want to know every sensor reading, every structural detail. Mr. Data, pull up everything we have on Romulan dimensional research. If they truly have been studying quantum realities, I want to know about it." Riker looked at Superman. "You're really going to walk into this?" "I have to know," Superman said. "Even if it's a lie, I have to know. Because the alternative is spending the rest of my life here and every day wondering if I missed my chance to go home." Picard nodded slowly. "Then we go together, and we go ready for war." 12 hours later, the Enterprise arrived at Outpost Epsilon 17. The station hung in space like a dead thing, its lights dark, its hull scarred from decades of neglect. And on the other side, decloaking slowly like a predator emerging from shadows, was a Romulan warbird. Superman floated outside the Enterprise, cape rippling in solar wind, eyes fixed on the station. Inside, he knew, answers waited, or death. He just didn't know which he'd prefer. The interior of Outpost Epsilon 17 smelled of recycled air and decay. Emergency lighting cast everything in dim amber, throwing long shadows across bulkheads that hadn't seen maintenance in years. Superman walked through the corridor, his footsteps echoing on metal grating, flanked by Captain Picard and Commander Riker. Behind them, Worf kept his hand on his phaser, eyes scanning every shadow. At the end of the corridor, the station's main laboratory waited. The doors slid open with a protesting groan. Commander Liviana stood inside, surrounded by 4 Romulan scientists in gray uniforms, their equipment already set up, sensors and scanning arrays arranged in a semicircle. No guards, no weapons visible, just scientists and their tools. "Superman," Liviana said, inclining her head. "Thank you for coming. Captain Picard, I see you brought an armed escort despite our agreement." "Your agreement was with Superman," Picard replied coolly. "I made no such promise." Liviana smiled thinly. "Ever the diplomat." She gestured to the scanning equipment. "Shall we begin? The sooner we gather data, the sooner we can calculate your dimensional origin point." Superman stepped forward, but Picard caught his arm. "I want full transparency. Every scan, every reading, every piece of data collected is shared with us in real time." "Of course." Liviana nodded to one of her scientists, who activated a holographic display visible to everyone. "We have nothing to hide." Superman moved to the center of the scanning array. Energy fields flickered to life around him, washing over his body in waves of green light. Data began streaming across the holographic display, equations and measurements scrolling faster than any human could read. Data, who had accompanied them via comm link from the Enterprise, spoke through Picard's comm badge. "Captain, the scans appear legitimate. They are measuring quantum fluctuations in Superman's cellular structure, specifically looking for dimensional resonance patterns. This is consistent with theoretical research into parallel realities." Liviana circled Superman slowly, studying the readings. "Fascinating. Your body exists simultaneously in multiple quantum states. You're essentially a living anchor point between dimensions." She looked up at him. "Tell me, when you crossed over into our reality, do you remember what you felt?" Superman's eyes were distant, remembering. "Pain, like my body was being torn apart and stitched back together. I heard voices, saw flashes of other places, other versions of myself, then silence. Just stars." "Other versions of yourself," Liviana repeated, her interest sharpening. "The multiverse theory proven. There are infinite realities, infinite versions of you. Some stronger, some weaker, some perhaps not heroic at all." "That's a comforting thought," Superman muttered. One of the Romulan scientists called out in their native tongue. Liviana's expression shifted, something predatory sliding behind her eyes. "Interesting. We have isolated the dimensional frequency. Your home reality operates at a quantum vibration exactly 0.3% higher than ours. With the proper equipment, we could theoretically create a stable wormhole to that exact frequency." Superman straightened. "You can send me home?" "In theory. However, generating a wormhole of that magnitude would require an immense power source. More than this station possesses. More than our warbird possesses." She paused deliberately. "But you possess that power." Picard stepped forward. "What are you suggesting?" Superman absorbed the energy of a dying star. "His cells are currently holding enough power to sustain our wormhole generator for the 17 seconds necessary to create a stable passage home." Liviana met Superman's eyes. "You would be the key to your own escape, but you would need to release that energy all at once, in a controlled manner, into our equipment." "And if something goes wrong," Riker demanded, "then Superman loses the stored energy and remains here. Nothing more. The process is entirely safe." Data's voice crackled urgently through the comm. "Captain, I must object. Releasing that much energy at once could be catastrophic. If their containment fails, the resulting explosion would destroy this station, both ships, and everything within a radius of 10,000 kilometers." "Our containment will not fail," Liviana said sharply. "Romulan engineering is superior to Federation standards in every measurable." "This isn't about engineering," Picard interrupted. "This is about trust, and Superman has no reason to trust you." Superman was silent, staring at the holographic display, watching his own quantum signature pulse and shift. Home was right there, within reach. All he had to do was risk everything on the word of an enemy. "Give us time to verify your data," Picard said. Allow our scientists to examine your wormhole generator to confirm time is something we do not have. Liviana's voice hardened. The dimensional breach through which Superman entered our reality is closing. Every hour, the quantum differential increases. In 48 hours, the frequency shift will be too great. He will be permanently stranded here. She looked at Superman. You must decide now. Risk everything for a chance to return home, or accept your exile and live forever, wondering if you made the right choice. Superman closed his eyes. In the darkness behind his eyelids, he saw Lois, saw Ma and Pa Kent on the farm, saw the skyline of Metropolis at sunset, saw everything he'd lost. Then he opened his eyes and looked at Picard. What do you think I should do? Picard was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, I think you already know my answer, but this is not my choice to make. It is yours. If I stay, I'm a threat. To the Federation, to everyone. You said it yourself. Beings like me disrupt the balance of power. I could start a war just by existing. Superman's voice was steady, but his hands trembled. If I go home, all your problems disappear. And if this is a trap? Troy's voice came through the comm. If they're planning to use you as a weapon or drain your power for their own purposes, then I'll deal with it. Superman looked at Liviana. But I need to know something first. Why are you helping me? What does the Romulan Empire gain from sending me away? Liviana smiled. Peace of mind. A being of your power, loose in this galaxy, is unacceptable to us. We would rather see you gone than risk you becoming an enemy, or worse, a Federation weapon. At least she's honest, Riker muttered. Superman turned to Picard. I need to speak with you. Alone. They stepped into the adjacent corridor. The door sealed behind them. Tell me not to do this, Superman said quietly. Tell me it's a trap, that I'm being foolish, that I should stay and let you help me find another way. I cannot tell you what to believe, Picard replied. But I can tell you what I know. The Romulans are masters of deception. Their promises are often poisoned, and yet, he paused. I also know what it means to be far from home, to lose everything you hold dear. If there is even a chance their offer is genuine, I understand why you would take it. But you don't think it is. No, I do not. Picard met his eyes. I think they will attempt to contain you, study you, or destroy you. And I think the moment you release that energy into their machine, you will be vulnerable in a way you have never been before. Superman was quiet for a long time. Then he said, What would you do if you were me? Picard smiled sadly. I would probably do exactly what you're about to do. Because hope, even false hope, is sometimes stronger than wisdom. They returned to the laboratory. Superman stood before the wormhole generator, a massive device bristling with power conduits and quantum field emitters. I'll do it, he said, but on one condition. Captain Picard and his crew stay aboard the Enterprise. If this is a trap, I don't want them caught in it. Liviana nodded. Acceptable. Picard stepped forward, extending his hand. Whatever happens, Superman, it has been an honor. Superman shook his hand, then watched as Picard, Riker, and Worf transported back to the Enterprise. Alone now with the Romulans, Superman placed his hands on the generator's power receptors. When you are ready, Liviana said softly. Superman closed his eyes and began to release the energy. His body glowed, brighter and brighter, the stored power of a supernova flowing into the machine. The wormhole began to form, a swirling vortex of light and impossible colors. And that was when the containment field activated around him, locking him in place. Superman's eyes snapped open. He pulled against the field, but for the first time since arriving in this universe, he couldn't move. Liviana's smile was triumphant. "Thank you, Superman. You have just given the Romulan Empire the most powerful battery in existence. And now, you belong to us." The containment field blazed around Superman like a cage of coherent light, quantum-level force fields interlocking to create a prison designed specifically for him. He pushed against it, muscles straining, energy flaring, but the field held. Liviana circled him slowly, triumph gleaming in her eyes. "Did you truly believe we would simply send you away, a being who can absorb stars, who can move faster than our fastest ships? You're not a refugee, Superman. You are a resource, and the Romulan Star Empire does not waste resources." Superman's eyes blazed red. Heat vision lanced out, striking the containment field. The energy dispersed harmlessly across its surface, absorbed and redistributed. The field didn't even flicker. "Quantum coherent adaptive shielding," Liviana explained. "The harder you push, the stronger it becomes. Your own power reinforces your prison. Elegant, is it not?" She nodded to her scientists. "Begin extraction protocols. I want every joule of stored energy analyzed and replicated." One of the Romulan scientists approached with a device that hummed with malevolent purpose, neural probes extending like mechanical fingers. "Captain Picard will come for me," Superman said through gritted teeth. "Will he? The Federation's precious prime directive forbids interference in our internal affairs, and as far as Starfleet is concerned, you came here of your own free will. You agreed to be scanned. You released your energy into our machine." Liviana leaned close to the containment field. "You have no rights here, Superman. No protections. You are property now." On the Enterprise bridge, Picard watched the outpost through the view screen, jaw clenched so tight it ached. The Romulan warbird hung alongside the station, weapons powered down, playing at innocence. "Captain, I am detecting a quantum containment field activation inside the station," Data reported. "Superman is trapped." "Hail them," Picard commanded. "Now." The view screen shifted. Liviana appeared, her expression mockingly sympathetic. "Captain Picard, I'm afraid our negotiations with Superman have concluded successfully. He has agreed to remain with us for further study." "You're lying," Troy said. "He would never agree to that." "Lower your shields and allow us to transport him back immediately," Picard demanded. "Or this will be considered an act of war." "War?" Liviana laughed. "Captain, you're in the neutral zone. If you fire on us, you violate every treaty between our peoples. Your precious Federation will disavow you. You will be court-martialed, and Superman will still be ours." "Then we'll board the station," Riker said. "Try. My ship's disruptors are locked onto your transporter systems. The moment you attempt to beam anyone across, we fire, and then we leave with our prize while you repair hull breaches." Liviana's smile was razor-sharp. "You have lost, Picard. Accept it with grace." The transmission ended. Picard stood, hands behind his back, mind racing through scenarios. Every option led to war or Superman's permanent capture. The Romulans had planned this perfectly. "Captain," Worf said quietly, "we could target their warp core, disable their ship before they can escape, and start a war that will cost millions of lives." Picard replied. No, there must be another way. There is. The voice came from behind them, cold and precise. Everyone turned. A man stood near the turbolift, dressed in black, no insignia, no rank. His face was unremarkable, forgettable by design, but his eyes were those of someone who had made terrible choices and slept soundly afterward. Who the hell are you? Riker demanded, hand moving to his phaser. Section 31, Picard said, recognition and disgust mingling in his voice. I should have known you'd be watching. The man inclined his head. We've been monitoring Superman since the moment he arrived, and we anticipated this exact scenario. The Romulans were always going to try to take him. He stepped onto the bridge like he owned it. We have a solution, but you're not going to like it. I already don't like you, Riker growled. The man ignored him, addressing Picard. We've developed a quantum singularity device, small, portable, undetectable until activation. It creates a localized black hole that collapses in on itself within 3 seconds. In that time, it will destroy the containment field holding Superman and destabilize the outpost's structural integrity. And kill everyone aboard, Picard said flatly. Not everyone. Superman will survive. The Romulans, less fortunate. The man pulled out a small cylindrical device from his coat. We transport this onto the station, detonate it remotely, and extract Superman in the chaos. That's murder, Crusher said from her station. That's pragmatism, the Section 31 agent corrected. Superman is too valuable to fall into Romulan hands. If they reverse engineer his abilities, they create an army of super soldiers. The balance of power collapses. The Federation loses. Billions die. He looked at Picard. Or 6 Romulan scientists die, and we prevent a catastrophe. Your choice, Captain. Picard stared at the device. Everything in him recoiled from the idea. Everything Starfleet stood for, everything the Federation believed, rejected this cold calculus of acceptable casualties. But he also saw the future if he refused. Saw Romulan warships crewed by beings as powerful as Superman. Saw worlds burning. Saw the Federation crushed. No, he said finally. I will not authorize murder. Then you condemn Superman to captivity and doom the Federation to eventual defeat. The agent's voice was flat, without judgment. Your principles are admirable, Captain, but they're a luxury we can't afford. There must be another way. There isn't, and you know it. On the outpost, Superman hung in the containment field, feeling neural probes pierce his skin, his mind, his very essence. Pain unlike anything he'd experienced since arriving in this universe lanced through him. The Romulans were dissecting his consciousness, mapping his powers, learning how to replicate them. He could hear Liviana giving orders, could hear her scientists marveling at his cellular structure, could hear his own screams echoing in the empty station. And he could hear something else, a faint mechanical hum, growing closer. In the Enterprise's transporter room, the Section 31 agent stood at the console, fingers moving without authorization codes, bypassing security protocols that should have been unbreakable. Picard and Riker burst in, phasers drawn. Step away from the console, Picard commanded. The agent looked at him sadly. I already transported it. The device is active. Detonation in 15 seconds. Abort it, Riker shouted. I can't. Once activated, it runs to completion. It's designed that way to prevent enemy countermeasures. The agent met Picard's eyes. I'm sorry, Captain, but sometimes the needs of the many truly do outweigh the needs of the few. Picard's mind raced. 15 seconds. No time to warn the Romulans. No time to transport them out. No time for anything except... Data, can you transport Superman out before the device detonates? Data's voice came through the comm. Attempting now, Captain. However, the containment field is interfering with transporter lock. I need to... The outpost exploded. Not with fire, with absence. A sphere of perfect black appeared at its core, and for 3 eternal seconds, everything near it simply ceased to exist. The containment field, the equipment, the Romulan scientists, the station's bulkheads, all pulled into impossible darkness. Superman felt the field vanish, felt himself pulled toward the singularity, felt reality tearing around him, and then he flew, harder than he'd ever flown, away from the black, away from the death. He burst through the station's hull as it collapsed, rocketing into space just as the singularity winked out of existence. The Enterprise's transporter caught him, pulling him aboard in a cascade of light. He materialized in the transporter room, smoking, bleeding from wounds that were already healing, eyes wild with rage and pain. The Section 31 agent stood calmly. "Welcome back. Sorry about the..." Superman's hand wrapped around his throat, lifting him off the deck. "You killed them. All of them." "I saved you," the agent choked out, "and prevented Romulan Empire from weaponizing by becoming exactly what you fear." Superman's eyes blazed. "You're no different than the people you fight." Picard stepped forward, phaser lowered. "Superman, put him down." "Why? So he can murder more people in the name of security?" "Because we are better than this. Because if you kill him, you prove that power without restraint leads to tyranny. You prove the Federation's fears about you are justified." Picard's voice was steady. "Put him down, please." For a long moment, Superman didn't move. Then, slowly, he lowered the agent to the deck. The man gasped, rubbing his throat. "You're welcome," he rasped, then vanished into the shadows like he'd never been there. Superman turned to Picard, and for the first time, there was something broken in his eyes. "They used me. You all used me. The Romulans wanted me as a weapon. Section 31 wanted me as an asset. Nobody cares that I just want to go home." "I care," Picard said quietly, "and I will find a way. But not like this. Never like this." Superman looked at his hands, still trembling with rage and grief. "I almost killed him. I wanted to. Does that make me the monster everyone thinks I am?" "No," Picard said. "It makes you human." The Enterprise hung in neutral space, 3 light years from the Romulan border, running silent with minimal power signatures. In the observation lounge, an emergency briefing was underway. The room was packed with senior staff, their faces grim in the dim lighting. Admiral Nechayev's holographic image flickered at the head of the table, her expression carved from stone. "Captain Picard, the situation has escalated beyond our worst projections. 6 hours ago, the Romulan Senate transmitted a formal declaration to the Federation Council. They are calling the destruction of Outpost Epsilon 17 an act of war. Admiral, Section 31 acted without authorization," Picard protested. "Starfleet cannot be held responsible for..." "Section 31 does not exist, Captain, officially. Which means the blame falls squarely on you and the Enterprise." Nechayev's voice was ice. "The Romulans claim you deliberately destroyed their research team to prevent them from aiding Superman. They have mobilized their 4th Fleet, 12 warbirds are currently moving toward the neutral zone. Riker leaned forward. They're using this as a pretext. They wanted Superman. We stopped them, and now they're manufacturing justification for conflict. Whether manufactured or not, the result is the same. The Klingon High Council has also issued a statement. They're demanding Superman be remanded to their custody for proper evaluation. If we refuse, they will consider it a violation of our alliance. Nechayev's image flickered with interference. And there's more. The Cardassians have expressed interest. So have the Ferengi Alliance, the Tholians, and a dozen minor powers. Superman's existence has destabilized the entire quadrant. Superman sat at the far end of the table, silent, listening. His cape was torn, his suit still bore scorch marks, but his eyes were clear and focused. Data spoke, his tone analytical but concerned. Admiral, I've been monitoring subspace communications. There are currently 47 separate powers attempting to locate Superman's position. Some are offering asylum, others are offering bounties. The largest bounty, placed by an anonymous party, is 10,000 bars of gold-pressed latinum. Someone wants me dead, Superman said quietly. Or captured, Worf added. The bounty specifies alive, but does not require unharmed. Counselor Troy turned to Superman. How are you handling this? You've just been through a traumatic experience, and now you're learning that your mere presence is triggering interstellar conflict. Superman's laugh was bitter. How do you think I'm handling it? Every choice I make creates more problems. I save a colony, and it proves I'm too powerful to ignore. I try to go home, and people die. I exist, and empires mobilize for war. He looked at Picard. Maybe the Romulans were right. Maybe everyone would be better off if I just surrendered to someone, anyone, just to make this stop. That is not an option, Picard said firmly. Surrendering would not bring peace. It would only prove that power answers to force, not principle. Every government would know that threatening war is enough to claim what they want. Then what do I do? Superman's voice cracked slightly. I can't fight all of them. I won't. I didn't come here to be a conqueror. Nechayev's image leaned forward. There may be another option. Starfleet intelligence has been analyzing the quantum data the Romulans collected before the outpost was destroyed. Our scientists believe they can recreate the dimensional frequency calculations. With sufficient power and the right equipment, we could potentially open a stable wormhole to your home reality. Superman straightened. You can send me home? In theory. But the power requirements are immense. We would need to channel the output of an entire star directly into a quantum fold generator for approximately 43 seconds. The strain on the equipment would be catastrophic. There is a 78% chance of catastrophic failure. And if it succeeds? Picard asked. Superman goes home. The threat he represents disappears. The quadrant stabilizes. Nechayev's expression softened fractionally. But Captain, Starfleet Command is divided on this course of action. Some admirals believe Superman should remain here as a deterrent against our enemies. A living weapon we can aim at anyone who threatens the Federation. No. Superman's voice was absolute. I am not a weapon. I will never be a weapon. If you want me to stay, it will be as an ally, not a slave. Then you should know that several members of the Federation Council agree with that sentiment. They have proposed granting you full citizenship offering you a place in Starfleet, even suggesting you be given your own ship. Nechayev's eyes were unreadable. You could have a home here, Superman. Purpose. People who need you. The room fell silent. Everyone watched Superman, waiting for his response. He closed his eyes, and for a moment, he let himself imagine it. A life here among the stars. Exploring new worlds, protecting people who needed protection. It would be so easy to say yes, to accept this new reality and make peace with never seeing Lois again, never seeing Earth again. But when he opened his eyes, his voice was steady. I appreciate the offer, Admiral, but I have people waiting for me, a world that needs me. And if there's even a chance I can get back to them, I have to take it. Nechayev nodded slowly. Then Starfleet will provide the resources. But Captain Picard, you should know that the moment we begin construction of the quantum fold generator, every hostile power in the quadrant will attempt to stop us. They will not allow Superman to escape. They will attack in force. Then we'll be ready, Picard said. Will you? Nechayev's image flickered. Captain, I'm transmitting the latest intelligence reports now. Review them. Then tell me if you truly believe the Enterprise can stand against what's coming. The transmission ended. Data transferred the intelligence files to the central display. What appeared made everyone in the room go silent. 12 Romulan warbirds, 8 Klingon birds of prey, 4 Cardassian Galore-class cruisers, Ferengi marauders, Tholian vessels. Even a Borg cube had been detected on the periphery, its interest unknown, but ominous. They're all converging on this sector, Riker said quietly. Every major power, all of them coming for him. Worf's voice was grim. Captain, we cannot win this fight. Even with Superman's help, we are vastly outnumbered and outgunned. Superman stood, moving to the viewport. Outside, stars glittered peacefully, unaware of the storm gathering. Then I'll lead them away. I'll fly in the opposite direction, draw them off while you build the generator. They will pursue you, Data observed, and when they realize you are fleeing rather than fighting, they will intensify their efforts. Some will break off to attack the generator site. We gain nothing. Then what do we do? Crusher asked. We can't abandon him, and we can't fight them all. Picard stood, moving to stand beside Superman at the viewport. We do what we have always done. We find the third option, the choice no one else sees. He turned to his crew. Mr. Data, how long to construct the quantum fold generator? Using existing Starfleet resources and working continuously, approximately 68 hours. And how long before the first hostile forces arrive? 49 hours. Then we have 49 hours to prepare. Not for war, but for diplomacy. Picard's voice strengthened with conviction. We will contact every major power. We will offer them transparency. Complete data on Superman's abilities, his origins, his intentions. We will show them that he is not a threat to be conquered, but a person to be respected. Captain, with respect, they will not listen, Worf said. They want power. Information will not satisfy them. Perhaps not, but it will buy us time, and time is what we need. Picard looked at Superman. Are you willing to stand before the Federation Council? To allow yourself to be examined, questioned, scrutinized by the very people who fear you most? Superman met his gaze. If it prevents a war, yes. Then we have our strategy. Mr. Data, begin preparations for the quantum fold generator. Mr. Worf, put the ship on yellow alert and coordinate with Starfleet Tactical on defensive positions. Counselor Troy, work with Superman on his testimony. He will need to be forthright, vulnerable, and above all, human. Picard's jaw set. We are going to show the galaxy that we resolve conflicts with words, not weapons, even when the other side brings fleets. As the crew dispersed, Riker pulled Picard aside. Jean-Luc, this is a massive risk. If diplomacy fails, then we'll face what comes with honor and courage, as we always have. Picard glanced at Superman, who stood alone at the viewport, shoulders bowed under invisible weight. But number one, look at him, truly look. That is not a weapon. That is a man who has lost everything and still chooses to do the right thing. If we cannot protect him, if we cannot stand between power and principle, then what is the Federation for? Riker nodded slowly. When you put it that way, there's really only one choice. Yes, Picard said, the hardest one. Outside in the dark between stars, the first Romulan warbird crossed into Federation space, weapons armed, cloaking device active, hunting for a god. The Federation Council chamber on Earth was a cathedral of democracy, its vaulted ceiling stretching toward the sky, light streaming through transparent aluminum panels. Representatives from 150 member worlds filled the tiered seats, their faces reflecting every shade of skepticism, fear, and curiosity that sentient beings could muster. At the center of the chamber, on a raised platform, stood Superman. No restraints, no guards. Just a man in a torn cape, surrounded by the judgment of civilizations. Captain Picard sat in the observers section, Riker beside him, both in full-dress uniform. They had escorted Superman here via secure transport, evading 3 separate ambush attempts. The hostile fleets were gathering just beyond Federation space, a noose tightening with every passing hour. President Jaresh Inyo, an Ephrodsian with deeply lined features and eyes that had seen too much, stood at the podium. This emergency session has been called to address the individual known as Superman and the crisis his presence has precipitated. We have 41 hours remaining before multiple hostile fleets reach optimal attack position. In that time, we must decide. Do we protect him, surrender him, or eliminate him? A murmur rippled through the chamber. Superman's jaw tightened, but he said nothing. The Vulcan ambassador, Talar, spoke first, her voice measured and logical. I have reviewed all available data on Superman's capabilities. He represents a statistical anomaly of such magnitude that standard threat assessment models cannot account for him. However, I have also reviewed his actions. In every documented instance, he has chosen restraint over aggression, mercy over vengeance. Logic suggests that his continued presence, while destabilizing, does not constitute malicious intent. The Tellarite ambassador, Graal, snorted. Intent is irrelevant. A Tag may not intend to gore you, but its tusks remain dangerous. This being could destroy our worlds on a whim. We cannot base Federation security on hoping he remains benevolent. Then what do you propose? President Jaresh Inyo asked. Containment. We have the genesis of quantum field technology from the Romulan data. Develop it further. Create a prison that can hold him. Then we control the threat rather than simply hoping it goes away. Superman stepped forward, his voice carrying across the chamber without amplification. I have something to say. The President gestured permission. I understand your fear, Superman began, his words careful and deliberate. Where I come from, I was feared too. People saw what I could do and wondered when I would stop protecting and start ruling. I've heard every argument you're making now, that power like mine can't be trusted. that good intentions aren't enough, that eventually I'll decide I know better than everyone else. He paused, looking at the assembled delegates. And they were right to be afraid. Because I am dangerous, every day I make choices that affect millions of lives. I decide who to save and who I can't reach in time. I decide when to intervene and when to stand back. That kind of power should terrify you. The chamber was absolutely silent. But here's what I learned on my world and what I'm learning here. Power doesn't corrupt. Fear of powerlessness does. The moment you try to cage me, control me, or weaponize me, you've already lost what makes the Federation worth protecting: your principles. Superman's eyes found Picard in the crowd. Captain Picard could have let the Romulans take me. It would have solved so many problems, but he didn't, because it would have been wrong. That's the difference between your Federation and every empire that wants to claim me. You choose principle over expedience, even when it costs you. The Andorian ambassador, Thoris, stood. Pretty words, but what guarantee do we have that you won't change? That you won't decide our prime directive is foolish, our laws are obstacles, our sovereignty is inconvenient? None, Superman said simply. You have my word and my actions, and nothing more. I can't give you certainty. No one can. But I can tell you this. I want to go home. I have people waiting for me, a world that needs me, a life I was torn away from. I'm not asking you to trust me forever. I'm asking you to help me leave. President Jaresh Inyo leaned forward. Starfleet has proposed constructing a quantum fold generator to facilitate your return. However, several member worlds have argued that allowing you to leave is equally dangerous. If you can return here, what prevents you from bringing others like yourself? An army of Kryptonians could subjugate the entire Alpha Quadrant. Superman's expression darkened. I'm the last. Krypton died. My people are gone. I'm alone. His voice cracked slightly. And even if I could bring others, I wouldn't. Because this isn't my universe to reshape. These aren't my people to govern. I'm just trying to get home. Except you can't go home yet, a new voice interrupted. Everyone turned. Admiral Nechayev entered the chamber, flanked by 2 Starfleet security officers. Her expression was grave. I've just received confirmation from long-range sensors. The hostile fleet has begun moving. They're not waiting for our decision. They're coming now. President Jaresh Inyo stood. How long? 18 hours until they reach Earth. Panic erupted in the chamber. Delegates shouted over each other, demanding evacuation, demanding Superman be handed over, demanding Starfleet defend them. Superman's eyes blazed. I'll stop them. You can't fight an entire fleet, Picard called out, standing. You'd be overwhelmed, and even if you survived, the casualties would be catastrophic. Then what do I do? Superman's frustration boiled over. Let them come here. Let Earth become a battlefield because I exist? Picard descended to the chamber floor, approaching Superman. You do what we do. You find another way. Data's voice suddenly crackled through the chamber's comm system. Captain Picard, I apologize for the interruption, but I have completed an analysis of the quantum fold generator specifications. I've discovered a critical variable that Admiral Nechayev may not be aware of. Speak, Mr. Data, the President authorized. The generator requires the energy output of a star, channeled for 43 seconds. However, Superman himself is currently storing the equivalent energy of a supernova in his cellular structure. If he were to release that energy in a controlled manner directly into the generator, we could open the wormhole immediately. No construction delay, no waiting for hostile forces to arrive. The chamber erupted again. Superman and Picard locked eyes. "How controlled?" Superman asked. "Extremely. You would need to discharge 98% of your stored power in a precise frequency over exactly 43 seconds. Any deviation and the wormhole collapses. Any excess energy and the generator explodes. And if I do this, I'll be powerless." "Temporarily. Your cells would be depleted. In a yellow sun environment, you would regenerate within several hours. But during the discharge and transit, you would be vulnerable." Vulnerable. Human. Mortal. "There's more," Nechayev added grimly. "If we activate the generator now, the hostile fleet will detect it. They'll attack before the wormhole stabilizes. We'd be trying to send you home while under fire from 12 different powers." "Then we defend him," Picard said. "The Enterprise, every Starfleet vessel in range. We hold the line for 43 seconds. "Against that fleet?" Grawl scoffed. "Suicide, perhaps," Picard acknowledged. "But it's also the right thing to do." Superman looked around the chamber, seeing the fear, the hope, the uncertainty on hundreds of alien faces. Then he smiled, that sad, gentle smile that had become familiar. "Let's do it. Let's end this." President Jaresh Inyo stood. "The Federation Council will vote, all in favor of attempting to return Superman to his home reality, even at risk of military engagement." Hands rose. Tentacles lifted. Appendages of every description indicated assent. It was unanimous. 4 hours later, the quantum fold generator sat in high orbit above Earth, hastily assembled from components beamed up from 3 different star bases. The Enterprise and 17 other Starfleet vessels formed a defensive perimeter around it. And beyond them, dropping out of warp in waves of malevolent intent, came the fleet. Romulan warbirds decloaked. Klingon birds of prey howled their battle cries over subspace. Cardassian cruisers locked weapons. The sky above Earth became a field of hostile stars. In the center of the generator, Superman floated, hands pressed against the power conduits. His body already glowed with building energy. Picard's voice came through his comm. "Superman, you have 43 seconds. We'll give you every one of them. Thank you, Captain, for everything. Godspeed, Superman. May you find your way home." The hostile fleet opened fire. Phaser beams and disruptor bolts lanced through space. The Starfleet vessels returned fire, shields flaring, hulls shuddering under impacts. The Enterprise rolled and dove, Worf's tactical brilliance keeping them alive by seconds. Superman began to release his power. Golden light poured from his body into the generator. The machine screamed with barely contained forces. Space itself began to tear, a wound in reality opening like an eye. Through it, Superman could see something. Colors that didn't exist. Stars he recognized. Home. 20 seconds. The hostile fleet intensified fire. A Starfleet vessel exploded, its crew lost in an instant. 30 seconds. Superman's body dimmed. He could feel his strength fading, his invulnerability peeling away. He was becoming human again. 40 seconds. The wormhole stabilized, a tunnel through dimensions, pulsing with possibility. "Now!" Data shouted. Superman let go of the conduits and flew into the wormhole, cape streaming behind him, powerless, but finally free. The wormhole collapsed behind him in a cascade of light. The hostile fleet stopped firing, confused, their target gone. On the Enterprise bridge, Picard sat slowly, exhausted. "Stand down, Red Alert. Open a channel to the fleet. Tell them Superman is gone. Tell them to go home." "Captain," Troy said softly, "did we do the right thing?" Picard looked at the space where the wormhole had been. "We returned a lost soul to his home. We chose principle over fear. Yes, Counselor, we did the right thing." In another universe, a man in a torn cape fell from the sky above Metropolis, powerless and human, and was caught by the woman he loved. "Clark?" Lois Lane whispered, tears streaming. "Where have you been?" Superman smiled. "Finally home. You wouldn't believe me if I told you. The stars above Earth had never seemed so still." In the captain's ready room, Jean-Luc Picard stood alone before the viewport, a glass of Earl Grey tea cooling in his hand. The hostile fleet had dispersed hours ago. Their purpose vanished with Superman's departure. The Romulans had cloaked and retreated. The Klingons had acknowledged the honor of Starfleet's defense. Even the Cardassians had withdrawn, though not without transmitting veiled threats about future encounters. The crisis was over, but its echoes would reverberate for decades. The door chimed. "Come," Picard said. Riker entered, carrying a pad. "Casualty reports, Jean-Luc. The USS Repulse were destroyed. 42 crew lost. 6 other vessels sustained heavy damage. 217 wounded across the fleet." He set the PADD down. "We held the line, but it cost us." "It always does," Picard said quietly. He turned from the viewport. "But we gave him a chance to return home. That has to mean something." "Do you think he made it? Through the wormhole?" Mr. Data's calculations were precise. If Superman maintained the exact energy output, if he navigated the dimensional transition correctly, if his home reality's quantum frequency hadn't shifted. Picard smiled faintly. "Yes, I believe he made it. I have to believe that." Riker nodded, then hesitated. "The Federation Council wants a full report. They're already arguing about what Superman's presence revealed. Some say we were too vulnerable, that we need better defenses. Others say we proved that principle matters more than power. It's going to be debated for years." "Good," Picard said. "Debate is healthy. What concerns me is certainty. The moment we become certain that we're right, that our way is the only way, we stop being the Federation and become another empire." He picked up the pad, scanning the casualty list, memorizing names. These people died protecting a stranger. Not because they had to, because it was right. That's what makes us different. In sickbay, Dr. Crusher completed her final medical log entry. The wounded had been treated, the dead honored. She closed her tricorder and allowed herself a moment of exhaustion. Counselor Troy found her there. "How are you holding up?" "I keep thinking about what he said," Crusher replied. "That power doesn't corrupt, but fear of powerlessness does." Beverly Crusher, Chief Medical Officer, realizing that a man from another universe understood human nature better than most humans. "He wasn't so different from us," Troy observed. "He bled, he feared, he loved. He was just more. And we let him go." Crusher smiled. "Not because we had to, because he asked. I'm proud of that." On the bridge, Data stood at his station, reviewing the quantum fold generator's final telemetry. The readings fascinated him. They suggested that reality was far more fluid than Federation science had theorized, that other universes existed in infinite variation, that somewhere other versions of themselves lived different lives, made different choices. "Mr. Data," Worf said from Tactical. "A question." Yes, Lieutenant. If Superman had stayed, if he had joined Starfleet as some suggested, would we have been safer? Data considered this. In the short term, perhaps. His power would have deterred many threats, but in the long term, we would have become dependent on him. We would have stopped finding our own solutions, our own strength. Safety purchased at the cost of self-reliance is not safety. It is stagnation. Worf nodded slowly. A warrior must sharpen his own blade. Precisely. In his quarters, Picard finally sat, the weight of command temporarily lifted. He accessed his personal log, speaking quietly into the darkness. Captain's log, supplemental. Superman has returned to his home reality. The immediate threat to Federation security has passed, though the political ramifications will endure. I find myself reflecting on what his presence taught us. Not about power, but about character. He could have conquered us. He could have declared himself our protector and ruled through benevolent tyranny. Instead, he asked for help, respected our autonomy, and chose to leave rather than become what others feared. In an age where might often determines right, he proved that strength and humility can coexist. I hope we remember that lesson when we encounter the next impossible choice. I hope we choose as well as he did. End log. Somewhere in subspace, lingering quantum signatures from the wormhole slowly dispersed, leaving no trace that a god had walked among them. But in the hearts of those who had known him, who had fought beside him, who had chosen principle over expedience, Superman's legacy endured, not as a weapon, not as a conqueror, but as a reminder that the greatest power any being can possess is the wisdom to use their strength in service of others, and the courage to walk away when staying would corrupt what they stand for. The Enterprise turned away from Earth, setting course for the unexplored regions of space. There were other mysteries to solve, other civilizations to meet, other impossible choices waiting beyond the star. And when those choices came, they would face them as Superman had taught them, with compassion, courage, and an unwavering belief that doing the right thing matters more than doing the easy thing. The multiverse never sleeps, but sometimes, just sometimes, it remembers those who refuse to let power define them, and it honors them with the only gift that truly matters, the chance to go home. The multiverse never sleeps. More crossovers await.